Prologue. Join me, if you will, as we peek into a little-known world where flattery and suspicion are equally prevalent, yet frequently misplaced. A world that runs on its own prehistoric steam, yet shares more similarities with ours than the masters of the second floor of space ideology would care to fathom. This, my friends, is the most wondrous of worlds. The whole verse. In this world, you are just as likely to see an overconfident yet unpretentious montar, think horse, blatantly cheat at a game of farmer, scientist, smuggler, just to avoid clearing up after Ruby and Johnny's annual siesta soiree, as you are to gaze longingly into the mirror of eternal blissfullessness, and see a faint glimmer and skewed reflection of your own world. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, that's right, the annual siesta soiree. Wait, I hear you cry, or perhaps faintly wonder. It sounded like you just referred to a horse-type creature that seemed rather human in my estimation. You would be right, my friends. Right indeed. Probably, in fact, more right than Chester would care to admit. Fear not, my friends, for Chester, Ruby, and Johnny were, and are, and probably will be, much to Johnny's chagrin, inexplicably linked by the business and home they all share. To picture Chester, you have to let your mind wander and dwell upon the cliffs of calamity while also leaving it open to the possibilities of the mundane being delightful. As we haven't yet explored the aforementioned cliffs, I will instead provide a cruder yet hopefully splendid image for one and all to muster. I'm sure you can picture a horse. Great. Now how about a Shire horse? Think bigger and broader. Now add in an ego, colour him brown with a cream mane and add some hair towards the hooves, a deep voice, a penchant for self-righteousness, and, oh, did I mention, picture this horse standing upright and more often than not dressed in shorts and a sleeveless top. Ruby and Johnny you might consequently picture as quite boring by comparison. Far from the truth that would be, however. Much akin to human beings from your world, they both lead very interesting lives. In the midst of one of Ruby's more morally ambiguous missions, their paths would intersect. Equally enamoured and lost for words, Johnny was taken back by her brashness. They first met when the peculiar Ruby's interstellar jet, as ordinary as it is exquisite, needed a tune-up. Having failed to meet 3 separate deadlines, Ruby decided to go down to the shop herself and have a stern talking to with this laid-back workman. Following a tall tale of wild excuses and wilder lies, Ruby suggested Johnny should buy her a drink to make up for the delays. Johnny has never been honest enough to share that he'd finished up the work in barely any time at all, since there really was nothing much wrong with the craft. Instead, he'd chosen to remark that she was just so striking in both personality and looks that he'd found a drive and determination he hadn't previously realized he possessed. At the same time, Ruby has still not been honest enough to share that not only was this incredibly obvious, but more importantly, the bill, even now, remains unpaid. How these 3 came to own the Carpenter's moons and how they still live together is a story of intrigue and eccentricity, running through the gamut from wild excursions on wondrous planets to the regular dramas and dangers of interstellar pub ownership.